Don't see it. Don't see it. Don't see it. Don't see it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Moving boxes. I moved. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no, this is all new and scary. Tales of Berseria? A video game. Something in my wheelhouse. Another 40+ hour RPG in the bag, but I don't feel I can adequately talk about this game without first talking about this game. Tales of Zesty Pasta was the first Tales of game that I ever played to completion. It was a great game that I thoroughly enjoyed. I loved the characters, loved the story, loved the world, and the gameplay was fun too. It also hit me at the right time. The time in my life that I played it, I was going through quite a bit, and the game spoke to me on a much deeper level than it probably did for most people. So when it was announced that the next Tales of game was going to be set in the same world as Tales of Zestiria, I was amped, and I bought it immediately. And then I took a few months to beat it because I move slowly and I am a very busy man, damn it. So here we are. Where do we stand with this game? Well, I don't like it nearly as much as Zestiria, which is unfair, but that's the way the queech crumbles. Berseria didn't have any relations to things going on in my real life. It was just a video game with a fun story and good characters. In this game, you play as Velvet Crow. She lives an idyllic life in her armpit village with her brother-in-law Arthur and sickly little brother Laphicet. Everything is happy hunky-dory until one day Arthur sacrifices Laphicet to the Eternal Ones and turns Velvet into a demon with an arm that can consume people. Oh, that's nothing. I do the same thing with my family every 4th of July. Then she's sent to an island prison where she's fed other demons for 2 years. She's freed from her cell and the quest for revenge begins. One thing that kind of bugs me about the story isn't so much a bad thing, but it's still worth pointing out. I like personal stories. Smaller scale stories have more depth, in my opinion. The story of someone seeking revenge and then gathering a group of people that also have beef with the main baddies because they're a bunch of unscrupulous pricks is great. But usually, in order to raise the stakes, these stories tend to turn to world-ending calamity. And the main villain's motivation for bringing about the end of days is rather quizzical to me. He had a wife and an unborn son and they were killed. Too bad, so sad. Understandably, he's heartbroken and he doesn't like feeling heartbroken, so in order to never feel heartbroken again, he's going to make sure that no one can feel anything again by summoning an ancient deity to suppress the emotions of everyone on the planet. What? That's such a garbage motivation. I mean, I hate that every time. It's akin to saying that I am going to rule the world, and I shall be the only one in it, mwahaha. What a goof. Like, no one shall feel things if there are no things to feel. Still, the real meat and potatoes of this game is with the characters, gathering a group of weirdos, traversing the world with them, and hearing their insights on events and thoughts on the cultures of the different places that you visit. Oh, and you will hear their insights. A lot. I remember Zestiria doing this too, but there's a lot of people that you can talk to in this game, and these conversations do not pass quickly. You'll realize that talking with random passerby can take minutes of your time. There was a play session I had where I played in total for an hour, and I didn't fight a single enemy. You go to a town, and the group has something to say. Then the group has another skit to act out. Then you walk towards your objective, and a cutscene plays. Then you're given your quest, and a cutscene plays. You go to leave the town, and a cutscene plays. There's a citizen on the street with something to say, you talk to him, and another cutscene plays. You try to leave the town again and another skit plays. This gets super annoying towards the end because you're so powerful that you'll blow through any enemies with relative ease, and if you do some of the side missions, you're going to acquire abilities that'll make you damn near untouchable. I think in my entire 41-hour playthrough of this game, I was incapacitated maybe once. But for full transparency, I will say that most of the time I tend to play games on easy or normal difficulty settings, and that's not because I'm not a real gamer who can't play difficult games. It's because I got a very finite amount of time and I don't want to spend it dying over and over and over and over again. And when you're playing games that tend to last over 40 hours, I think I'd rather eat paint. Another reason that all these segments can tend to grate is that the voice acting is a bit suspect in areas. I tend to be lenient in this regard because translating a script that must have been longer than War and Peace into English is no small task. Some of the dialogue isn't going to come across properly even if you were to give it to the best voice actors going. Still, there are some performances that don't exactly hit. I'll say right away, though, that the main actress, Christina V, is phenomenal. She plays Velvet, and she absolutely nails it. She perfectly captures the different aspects of her character, from her anger to her apathy, to even when she becomes more open and friendly. There are also good performances from the likes of Ben Diskin, Erica Lindbeck, and Ray Chase, but there are a couple of notable bad performances, and I don't think it's so much because the actors or actresses are bad per se. I think it's more trying to keep a certain voice up with that much dialogue. There are kid characters in the game, and if you're not going to have an actual child do the voice, then the actor doing the voice needs to keep that voice the whole time. Some of the lines in this game would have been a lot more powerful, but they get mired in an inconsistent voice that cracks and changes pitch throughout the line. But that's a small nitpick in a small list of nitpicks. Overall, this is a great game, and I've got one last thing I want to talk to you guys about before I head out for the day, and that is my favorite character in the game. Now, you can only run into him twice, and he appears later in the game. When the main bad guys start to show off their capabilities, they suppress the emotions of one town, and as you walk about, you notice that everybody's kind of droll. And there's a man standing next to a water fountain that you can speak to. And when you talk to him, he will tell you that he low-key hates fountains, about how they're symbols of hubris and frivolity. And then, after you remove some of that suppression, you can go back and speak to the fountain man again, and this time he will tell you that while he still does not like fountains, and that he still views them as a symbol of frivolity in uncertain economic times, he understands the need to have joy in your life, and that water fountains might provide that for some people. So here's to you, Fountain Man. Hopefully you appear in the next Tales of game to muse more on the emotional connections that people have to fountains. And I recommend this game, Zestiria and that game. I recommend them both. They're both good. Play them.